This video was made possible by EA Game Changers.
Hey everybody, Crystal Gamer here, and welcome to my Sims channel, where today we are looking at how to be an interior decorator in The Sims. And I'm going to give you all the information you need to get started as quickly and easily as I can, so you can jump right into it and have a blast with this cool new career field. Now, unsurprisingly, your first step is to become an interior decorator. So you want to use the phone or computer for your Sim to find a job, and from the list that comes up, you select interior decorator. Now, once you do, you'll have the opportunity to select a gig. And in case you forget or don't know about this step, the game automatically opens the career menu at the bottom and tells you that your next step is to select a gig. So from there, you click the button on the right that says look for gigs when you hover over it. That will open up a list of gigs that defaults to showing all available gigs, both residential and commercial, in all categories. And there are 4 categories of design gigs. There's the single room gig, where you only have access to one room. There are room addition gigs, where you add an additional room to the existing foundation. The level addition gigs, where you're given access to add an entire level onto a house. And there are level renovation gigs, where you have access to renovate an entire level. Note that all of these gigs aren't available to you at the beginning. You have to progress through the career so that they all become available. So in the beginning, there are a lot of grayed out gigs, and if you hover over them, it lets you know that you're not experienced enough and you need to progress further before you can work that specific gig. So if you're new, room gigs will probably be likely what you have available. And each gig listing tells you who the client is, how much it pays, and what the client's budget is. Note that the types of gigs that will show up depend at least somewhat on your own likes and dislikes. So once you select a gig, it begins at 9 a.m. the following day. Note that we have a new Dream Home Decorator TV channel, and watching this channel will give an interior decorator a confident buff. So if your Sim has time before they leave in the morning, they may want to watch this channel. And if your Sim is not a decorator, this channel will give them an inspiration buff. So 9 a.m. the following day rolls around, and thankfully for people like me who are likely to forget, a dialog box pops up asking if you want to go to work. You can choose to go in that moment or decline and go on your own. Now, if you go in that moment, it may look a little bit better for your clients because you're arriving on time and they like that. But whichever you choose, once you're there, you knock on the client's door and then meet with each member of the household. I believe getting to know your clients provides some benefit, but I'm not exactly sure what that benefit is. I don't know if they'll be better about telling you their likes or dislikes or what, or if they just become more accepting of what you do since they like you. But either way, you have to go through a few interactions with them at minimum to introduce yourself and figure out what they like and what they don't like. Speaking of, we haven't talked about likes and dislikes yet, and they play a pretty big role in this career field, though not always a helpful one, but we'll get to that in a second. So it's possible by the time you watch this video, you already know about likes and dislikes, and that they include color, music genres, activities, and decor, and there are quite a few options under each category, and each client will have their own preferences. So you want to gather some of this information from them while you meet with them. And in the beginning of your career, you only get 3 likes and dislikes. And since it's only 3 from an entire long list of available likes and dislikes, some can be very helpful, like when they give you a favorite color and decor style and all of that. But sometimes they can be completely useless, like if they tell you that they hate 3 different activities that don't at all apply to the design you're doing anyway. Now, from what I can tell, it just leaves it up to you at that point. So your next step, once the clients have told you their likes and dislikes, is sending the client away. This is a step that isn't listed, which means that I keep doing renovations and having to send the client away afterwards because I forget. So try and remember that. Nonetheless, once they're gone, you can choose a room to redesign. And from what I can see, the game does not tell you it's your choice, which can be a bit confusing at first if you don't already know that it's up to you. Regardless, once you choose the room you wish to redesign, you take before photos, and any camera is fine for this, including your cell phone camera. So you're going to take after photos as well. So keep that in mind when you take your before photos. Once you're done taking the before photos, it tells you to enter build mode to make your renovations. Thankfully, the gig information is available at the top left of the build menu, so you can reference it without having to exit build mode. That listing will also include any restrictions to the job, like if they tell you that you can't change the floor tiles or wall coverings, for instance. And there's one restriction that isn't listed, but is the case for room renovations, and that's that you can't add or remove walls within the interior of the room. At least that's been my experience so far, but it's something I hope that they change. Nonetheless, that may be something to keep in mind when choosing which room you want to renovate. Once you're done with your renovation, you want to get out of build mode and take your after photos. Ideally, you want to remember the angles you used for your before photos so that you can use similar angles for your after photos. If you've done this, the before and after animation looks pretty dang good. And as a side note, I recommend trying to take your before and after photos in the same order to make your life easier during the selection process, which happens in about 1 other second. So anyway, you take your after photos and then you call your clients back by clicking on your Decorator sim and selecting the option to call the clients back. This is when the game will open a dialog box with your before and after photos in it, and it's from that box that you select which before photos go with which after photos. So you select one on the left, then one on the right, and then one on the left again, then one on the right, and so on. So once you select your before and after photos, your sim will go outside to call your clients back. It will then ask you if you want to host a reveal event. Now, I can't see a reason why you wouldn't want to do this, but you have an option not to. So then the clients will then walk into the room while covering their eyes, which is particularly comical if they have to walk upstairs. Nonetheless, you can click different objects within the renovation during the reveal and tell them to check this out or check that out. And then you can talk with them for a bit while they mill around and decide what they think. All of that is okay, but the best part of the whole thing, at least in my opinion, is the reveal animation. And if you've set your photos up right, it looks pretty dang cool. And if you're totally in love with what you've done, you can replay it as many times as you like before you exit out of it, which is nice too. Though I haven't yet figured out if there's a way to get back into that animation after you leave it. If anyone watching has figured that out, please feel free to let us know down in the comments. So once each sim has checked everything out and they are ready to render their final verdict, you get a notification and they get a little graphic over their heads with a check mark letting you know that they're ready. You then go to each member of the household to get the verdict. If they don't like it, you fail and don't get paid. It's also a negative hit to your reputation. If they like it, however, you get paid and get a bonus to your reputation. And as soon as you're done with that gig, you can then select a new gig. So you can theoretically do a different gig every day. And if you do a lot of gigs, you'll eventually be able to get commercial gigs, and you can even get callbacks, say from a client you have done a renovation for before who wants another room or maybe more done. And yeah, so that is essentially it. If you found this helpful, please don't forget to hit the like button. And if you're not yet subscribed, definitely subscribe, hit the little bell below. And thanks so much for spending the time with me today. Hope to see you all back again next time. Bye now.